Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today is all about my HOBONICHI A6. This is my photo a day journal, and I say photo a day, but it's turned more into a multiple photos a day journal. But who doesn't like to add lots of photos to visually remember certain memories or even just appreciate a day where it seems like nothing happened? I like to use my Canon selfie. I print about 8 or 9 photos, as much as I can fit onto a single print. I've found that this has been the most cost effective. I had the Canon IV before this, and it's a 2x3 sticker photo inkless print. It uses heat technology, and I found that I had to change the settings so much just to get a decent coloring with the heat technology on the zinc photo paper. I much prefer the Canon selfie. It does use an ink cartridge. It's not as portable, but honestly I wasn't really sold on the sticker paper. It wasn't a deal breaker for me. I much prefer being able to have vibrant photos, and this being so much more cost effective, I can get multiple photos on one photo paper, which costs about 40 cents per sheet if you do all the math with Canon selfie. The Canon IV was costing me almost $1 a print, and I could only collage maybe 2 on one 2x3 for it to be large enough to even see the details on the photo. So I'm very happy with my Canon selfie. I honestly wish I went with it since the very beginning, but my journals have really elevated this year in terms of being photo albums and just having a lot of visuals with photos because of the Canon selfie. Had I not gotten the Canon selfie, I don't think I would have pushed so much for a photo journal or really filled my travel journal pages with as many photos, because I was really trying to be cost efficient when I was using my IV, but I wanted to showcase different photos from our travels. So I am a lot happier with this. I will have my Amazon affiliate link for the Canon selfie in the description below if you want to check it out. Now, with me putting several photos on a page every single day in this HOBONICHI, of course it's going to have some bulk. I decided on the HOBONICHI because I knew you could bend the spine and eventually just fold the pages where you need it to be so that it can lay flat. That's a great thing about the HOBONICHI, is that it technically can lay flat no matter how chunky it gets. You just need to find that right level where it can zero out again. So I did that here so that I can write a little more comfortably. There is so much teetering with the different thicknesses of where I place photos and ephemera. The corners are where it's the thinnest, but it's not too bad, and I'm surprised it's held up this well. In these pages, I am at the end of May, so not quite halfway through the year, but it's getting close, and I think I'll be able to fit everything, maybe not so comfortably by the end of the year, but I'm excited to see this filled up. These pages of this last week of May, or last 2 weeks of May, I had family visit me in Italy, and we traveled to a lot of beach cities in south of Italy. I have to say, I honestly was not too excited to be traveling around warmer months. Thankfully, it was still a little bit of off season and not too hot yet in Italy, but I was just dreading being pregnant and walking around and being uncomfortable. But we found out that we were moving out of Italy mid-June, and so our perspective changed when we realized that this was going to be the last chance we had to travel Italy, and what better time than with family friends that were visiting us from California. It ended up being a great itinerary because a lot of these places I hadn't visited, so it was my chance to really soak it in, realize that this could be the last time in my life that I have this opportunity to visit places like Capri, Positano, Amalfi Coast, Sorrento, all of these beautiful places that so many people want to travel to from all over the world, and here it was just within a day trip of me from Naples. So if you're ever thinking about visiting Italy, Rome, or the Amalfi Coast, I highly suggest coming around May. It's not too hot yet. It's also off season, and other European countries nearby are not traveling as much yet, especially those from overseas. Around June, July, and especially August is when it's peak season and very busy all around Europe, especially Italy, because it is such a beautiful location to have great weather. And so if you can, definitely visit in May. If you want to come after peak season, then end of August and September is the best time to do that. It is still warm enough to enjoy these cities, but not so many tourists, and the prices are starting to get lower. Because the last 2 weeks of May were filled with travel with friends and family, I wanted to keep a consistent theme somehow in my journals, and so I decided with the headers of the city names or the places that we were traveling to. As you can see on the rest day, I still continued the header, and this was a really fun way for me to visually see that these days were together and part of the same trip, but also have a fun way to really highlight and pop this special time of travel and going to these new cities. So my lineup includes a HOBONICHI A6 5-year, and in this photo a day journal, I really try not to write too much. I try to just do one specific moment, maybe talk about one of the photos that I've placed on the page, but I don't really do a full daily journal writing. I don't mention the full day or everything that's going on, because that will usually go in my 5-year. I've really enjoyed my photo a day journal because it's taught me to not really have to stick to a certain style. A lot of my Traveler's Company inserts, once I start decorating a certain way or start a travel journal, I generally have to follow the theme or the vibe, whether it's vintage or floral or summer colors, maybe fall. I try to stay consistent within that insert because that insert is so small and I want it to be consistent. But when it's something like this photo a day and you get to start over every time you turn the page, I really enjoy playing around with different styles, different illustrations of pet tape whenever I come across a 2-page spread. Sometimes I will match the 2 pages together because it's just visually aesthetic that way, but here I didn't. I think I did it more so based on the activities of that day. I am curious to know, how many sticker release inserts do you have? I have 2. This one I'm flipping through is the first one. It's got a hodgepodge of different illustrations. I started a second one to house mostly all girl pet tapes, just because when I know that I want a figure or a person, I can just specifically go to a certain sticker insert. I'm also curious to hear about whether you get phased or jaded once you see a sticker or PET tape for so long. I've had some of these stickers and deco elements in this sticker release paper for over a year now, and I still have not used it. I keep thinking that I just need to find the perfect spread or the perfect occasion for it, but the truth is, I think the more that I flip through all these pages of different deco and illustrations, I see it so often every time I'm looking for something to use, and in my brain, it just feels like I've gotten tired of it. I've seen it so many times. So mentally, I feel like I've used it already on a page, and it's no longer exciting once you lay it down. Some of these things that I'm using currently in this journal with me are older items. I'm really trying to push myself to not be so literal. The page is about resting. I try to find something that emulates resting, but a lot of the times, sometimes the deco is just what you look at and you have a quick glance, and it has nothing to do with what you're writing about, but that's where I have a hard time. And so Here on the Sardinia page on the right, it's a beach day. We were out on the water. My kids were playing in the sand, so it was perfect to have some pops of blue. I even had a pet tape of a seagull. And so in those instances, it's really cute and ties it together, but it can take so long finding and flipping through your entire collection, trying to find what looks good on the page, especially when it's specific like that. And I know a lot of us can think of a certain pet tape that we have or a stamp, and you come across this event that you're journaling and you're like, oh, I know where that is, and you spend so long looking for it. By the time you find it, your journal session is already over and you've barely finished anything or made any progress. I feel like that's my struggle, because everything to me, when I have a pet tape or when I order, it's going to have its moment. It's going to have its specific use when that time comes, and you never know when that time is going to come. If I have something that's a full roll, then I'll use it wherever and whenever I want because I have so much of it. But I usually buy loops, and so when I only have that one specific design, I've only got one chance to use it, and it better be a good one. So this journal is new to me this year and I'm really enjoying it. I would love to continue it next year. But one thing that I learned about myself is that I really love medium fine nibs, and I'm starting to get into broader nibs. I knew that I favored my medium fines when I was working in my travel journals, but now that I have an active travel journal, my pregnancy journal, and this photo a day journal that I work on, this photo a day is my priority. So it's what I work on first when I have free time. But now with the use of more photos, I'm really leaning towards medium fine and broader nibs because I like to have bolder writing, I guess, because of the colors in the photos. When I use a finer nib or extra fine, I find that it's really such a huge contrast, almost like using really skinny pencil. I just want everything to complement each other well. And so here I'm writing with my Sailor medium, and I just love the line width now in medium and more. So I honestly, this is really surprising to me. I never thought that I was gonna say I preferred or wanted more mediums. So I'm excited to see where my fountain pen journey goes. If you haven't already seen, my previous video before this one was my 8 pen questions. That is a tag in the fountain pen community talking about your fountain pen journey, where you started and where you currently are. So I was really happy to do that video because I would love to see how my fountain pens evolve. So in this pen pouch that I have at the edge of the desk, I have about 10 inked pens, and all of them are pretty much my medium fines. My medium fine is the most nib width that I own. I think I have about 5 pens in a medium fine and just 1 in a medium. I've really enjoyed getting custom grinds because you can see so much line variation and line width with nice colored inks and that pop of colors. So I'm really leaning into the boldness of some of these thicker pens. I'm leaning into bigger headers using my Pentel Sign brush pens and Tombow 𝘈𝘬𝘳𝘧𝘰𝘯𝘵 pen. Here is my enormous brick of sticker collection. That Delphonics pouch is holding everything that I own that is a sticker set or sheet, because I am getting ready to move to California, and so I've been organizing and compiling everything where I can. And I told myself if it can't fit in this Delphonics, I need to gift it away. A lot of it are my sticker sheets that I purchased in Japan. Right after my Japan trip in January, I really fell off of journaling when I had some early pregnancy symptoms, and I'm really happy now to be able to have the energy to journal and use these sticker sheets that I purchased in Japan, because wow, did I spend a lot of money on sticker sheets. They were very inexpensive, of course, being in Japan, but I just bought so many, and so I need to get through them. And I don't want it to happen again, where I mentioned with my sticker sheet that I just flip through all of these sheets over and over and over again until I've memorized what I've had and nothing becomes exciting anymore. So I'm really also leaning into just using it, whether it makes sense or not, in my Hobonichi. This has been a really nice and playful journal for me to, again, experiment with different styles, use different mediums, use different illustrations, and not really follow a set theme or vibe of the overall journal. And that, friends, is the end of this journal with me session. Let's take a look at the pages I worked on during this time. It was about 4 spreads over 4 days. And then now a look at what the full week looked like when my family came to visit. First place was Positano, then Capri and Pompeii. Those were day trips around Naples, Italy. Then we've had a flight to Sardinia and stayed for a few days enjoying the beach before heading back to Rome, where we got to see the city and my family and friends flew out of. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next one. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for more live content.